Okay, I'm just going to take up the makeup quiz. This is for those students who were not here on the day of the regular quiz. Okay, how many electrons will be in the nucleus of a chlorine atom? Electrons are not found in the nucleus, so the answer to that is 0. Inside the nucleus we have protons and neutrons. How are protons and electrons similar? We know from our diagram, protons, neutrons, and electrons are subatomic particles, and protons and electrons both carry a charge, and that would be, oh, they're both subatomic particles, which is protons and electrons, both subatomic particles. They're not charged atoms, they're charged subatomic particles. That was one that might have stuck with you guys. How many neutrons are in the nucleus of a fluorine atom? We just have to look at the periodic table, find fluorine, and for our purposes, don't forget the fluorine, or all the atoms, we're going to say that there's the same number of neutrons as protons, so there are 9. So the answer to that is 9. How many electrons are in the valence shell of a sodium cation? Okay, so we have to look at sodium, which is atomic number 11, and if you have the sodium atom, if it has 11 protons, then it has 11 electrons. We need to remember that the first shell has 2, the second shell has 2, and the third shell will have 1 for a neutral atom. But we're talking about a cation, a positively charged atom, so that means this electron is gone, so the valence shell will have 8 electrons, because 2 in the first one, 8 in the second. So the valence shell becomes this last shell, which is full at 8. Which group of atoms in the periodic table have full valence shells? That's group 18 on the very right hand side. Those are the noble gases, the ones that don't want to accept or give away any electrons because their valence shell is full. Which group of the periodic table has the lowest ionization energy? And we know that from our lesson, the ionization energy goes from left to right. It increases as you go from left to right. So the lowest ionization energy would be the group 1 atoms or elements. What would the charge on a chlorine atom be if it were to be placed in a container with hydrogen? And don't forget, chlorine is over on the right hand side. So what will happen with chlorine is chlorine has 17 electrons, and hydrogen has 1, and hydrogen will want to give its electron to chlorine, so that chlorine has a full valence shell. If chlorine was put in a container with hydrogen, hydrogen would give its electron to chlorine, so chlorine would become negative. So the charge on the chlorine would be negative. Which element would likely say, "Psst, you want an electron?" We need to remember that the ones on the left-hand side with the low ionization energy are the ones that want to give away electrons, okay? So let's take a look at which one of those are here. Potassium is not on, oh actually, yes, potassium is in that group. So potassium, yes. Arsenic is way over on the other side, so they wouldn't want to give away an electron. Xenon is a noble gas, so he wouldn't want one. And oxygen is more of an electron acceptor than an electron donor. So anybody on this left-hand side, and there we are with potassium. Potassium will want to give away an electron. How many electrons will be in the outer shell of chlorine? Let's take a look at chlorine. It's 17. So it has 17 electrons. And remember the 2-8-8-2 rule. Okay, so 2 and 8 is 10. And so it'll have 7 in its next shell, because 2, 8, and 7 is 17. So it will have 7 in its outer shell. As we go from group 1 to group 8, the ionization energy increases. And we talked about this in class, and I made a video to show you that ionization energy as we go from left to right increases. So A is the answer there. Bonus, drawn label an atom of nitrogen showing the electrons in each of its shell, as well as the other subatomic particles and their numbers. Okay, so if you look on the periodic table, nitrogen has an atomic number of 7, so that means 7 protons, 7 neutrons. Electrons in its outer shell, there's 2, which means there's 5 in its valence shell. And these are all electrons. And this is sodium. Or nitrogen, sorry. Okay, that's it.